Okay, welcome to number 2, warm salmon salad. Sharpen the old knife. Give it a good wash. Okay, we need a kitchen towel, damp kitchen towel, stop slippage of the board. So notice I put 2 boards. I've got a vegetable board, and on top I'll use a seal board to stop the smell. Kitchen scraps bowl, underestimated piece. And you'll need a kitchen scales for this one. Okay, here comes the salmon. Going to zero it in before we put it on. So zero it. Okay, that's the right amount for me. 170 grams. You'll need some capers. Okay, 1 teaspoon of capers. You're going to need some horseradish. Lemon juice. Sparingly on the horseradish. Ground black pepper. And an onion. You'll need a red onion for this. And either soy sauce or tamari. And you'll need some greens, being a salad. Vita greens and baby spinach. Excellent crunch. Okay, now we're going to peel the onion. So be careful when you peel the onion. If you've got a bit of rotten stuff on the outside, peel that all off. Take the outside skin. Okay, don't worry about the wastage at this stage. We're going to use everything later. So if you've got some thick onion skin there, we're going to use that in a stock in a later recipe. Peel the onion. A trick to not getting watery eyes is to wash the onion beforehand. So before you cut it. I was lucky on this day, it wasn't a very juicy onion. So we'll cut it down to half. So we're going to quarter this. I'm going to finely dice it. So we cut from the bottom. Then I'll turn it over and I'll cut down the top. We're halfway, not the whole onion. I only want to use a quarter of this onion. And I will finally dice it. So I'll just slow this right down for you. And you can see how I dice it. Cut off the knuckles, keep your fingers out of the road. That is a sharp knife, you saw me sharpen it. Okay, I'm only using a quarter, we don't need a lot. In this recipe, a little goes a long way. Okay, just spread it out on the board and put it in a container we're going to use later. You can use this for everything else later, soups, stews, stocks, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're not going to use much of that, so we just did a quarter. Okay, now the salmon. You need a hot pan. Salmon by itself should have enough oil in its skin. Tendency to Costco salmon doesn't seem to have a lot of oil in it, but this is a pre-smoked piece of salmon. If you're using raw salmon, what you want to do is you want to turn that fry pan up quite high, and you need to have a sizzle. As soon as it hits the pan, the skin should just go tss and sizzle. So I've turned mine to medium, and then you can now see the sizzling. Skin side down, not skin side up first. Okay, yes, there's a bit of heat coming out of there now. There's a lot of steam. Okay, and I'm going to turn it over and show you what it should be looking like. So after a few minutes, it should look like that, nice and pink. We want a little bit more flavor and a little bit more smokiness, so we're going to turn the down, and we're going to just keep frying that. Now, fish is one of the things that people don't know how to cook. They usually undercook it, or they overcook it more or less. So I'm showing you the side of the fish. You can see it's starting to cook halfway. When it is cooked halfway, then it is time to turn it. and that prevents the sticking. There is enough oil in that pan, so we want a nice charcoal flavour and a nice colour to this meat. Now you can see inside it's still slightly raw, but when it starts to pull away like that, it is almost cooked. Okay, we've got a really nice colour there. There's some of it's already pulled away. Just going to keep checking it. I personally like a little bit of crunch. And I pull it apart. Okay, I want to make sure it's cooked. Make sure I've got that crunchy texture on the outside. And it's cooked enough for me. As I said, don't overcook fish. Now, after you've cooked fish, you let it rest for a little bit. It'll actually keep cooking. So don't overcook it. And I'll make sure you get those really crunchy bits on the bottom. Okay. I've left most of the oil in the pan. I'm always cooking something at the same time, so 2 or 3 things at the once. So get 2 forks and start to tear it apart. Don't shred it to it's so small. Just shred it till it's in bite-sized pieces and chunks. Now this will only work with fresh salmon or smoked salmon. It won't work with tinned salmon. Okay, here's my salad bowl, to which I will get the capers, and I'll chop the capers very finely. Fingers out of the road. As I said, a little goes a long way, so there's not many capers. To which I'll add a sprinkling of onion, personal taste, black pepper. Now sparingly with the horseradish, half a teaspoon. If you've never had wasabi or horseradish, you might want to use even less. And the lemon. Okay, the lemon will cut through the fat. And soy sauce or tamari. It's half a teaspoon. And to which we add the salmon. And we just toss the salad, and voila, we have a perfectly nice warm salmon salad. You can have this as a main meal, or you can have it as a side dish.